All right, let's dive in. We're taking a close look at this new Taylor Swift interview and really getting into like her creative process and her relationship with fans and what might be next for her. I mean, she's had such an impact on music, right? From country to pop and crushing it every step of the way.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, and the way she talked about her songwriting process, re-recording her albums, and hinted at future projects is super fascinating.
I think what's really interesting is how Taylor Swift's musical journey, it isn't just about hopping between genres. You know,
Yeah.
it's like a very deliberate evolution as an artist.
Right.
Like, remember when she said music is a constant evolution?
Yes.
That totally sums up her whole approach.
Right. She pushes herself creatively. Like you hear folklore, it's like introspective, almost indie, but then 1989 pure pop.
Exactly. And she's not just trying on different sounds.
Right.
It seems like these shifts, they actually show us her exploring her own emotions and experiences.
That's true. Each era is like a snapshot of her growth, musically and emotionally. It makes you think, how did she even write a song?
Well, she called it, her songwriting, a mix of like lightning strikes and slow burns. Some just pour out of her like all too well,
Wow.
and others take months, even years.
I love that she said she still uses a notebook to write down ideas.
Yeah,
Even though she also uses her phone like everyone else, it proves that inspiration can hit you anytime, anywhere, even if you're Taylor Swift.
right. She's just like us. It makes songwriting feel more, I don't know, achievable.
Yeah, totally. She starts with notes and builds from there.
But she also talked about how important collaboration is when she's in the studio.
Oh, yeah, working with producers and musicians who challenge her. And she even mentioned wanting to produce more of her own music.
Now, that's where it gets really interesting, don't you think?
Yeah.
Producing, it's not just technical stuff.
Right.
It's about shaping the sound,
Yeah.
the direction of a song.
Totally.
Taking that on means she's getting even more control over her music.
It shows how dedicated she is to her art.
Definitely.
But she's also super connected to her fans, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
She kept mentioning authenticity
Right.
when talking about her relationship with them.
Yeah.
She appreciates their theories,
Yeah.
engages with fan art, even hides little Easter eggs just for them to find.
I love that. These details make fans feel like they are in on something special, a real connection. Do you think that's why her songs appeal to different generations?
I think it's a huge part of it. Yeah.
Oh.
Her lyrics are raw, honest, and they show those universal things we all go through: heartbreak, friendships, self-doubt,
Definitely, yeah.
finding your voice.
She even said songs like Shake It Off, The Archer, and Enchanted have special meaning for both her and her fans. What makes them so powerful?
Hmm. Shake It Off is such a, resilience anthem, accepting yourself. Everyone can relate to that.
Yeah.
The Archer feels so vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
It's about the inner critic we all fight. And then Enchanted, it captures that magic of like, for Smarks.
It's amazing how she takes these complicated emotions and makes them feel so personal but also universal. But speaking of big moves, what about her decision to re-record her first 6 albums? That was a total game changer.
Oh, absolutely.
Taylor's version shocked the industry.
It did.
It seemed like it was about owning her masters.
Yeah.
But it was bigger than that.
Right.
It was a statement about an artist's right to their work.
Definitely.
You could hear the emotion in her voice talking about re-recording those early songs, especially on Red, Taylor's version, like releasing that 10-minute All Too Well. It was an emotional time capsule.
It was, wasn't it? It's like she's letting us back into her past, but we're hearing it now with her growth and everything she's gone through.
And then Speak Now, Taylor's version.
Wow.
She wrote that whole album herself, so young. Re-recording it must have been a very personal journey,
It was.
like reclaiming her story.
It really adds a whole new layer to those songs, yeah. But you know what's exciting? Taylor doesn't seem content with just music. She's talked about filmmaking and her storytelling. It shines through in her music videos already.
Oh, totally. Remember the All Too Well short film? There's like a mini movie and she directed it.
It's true.
She's got this strong visual style and her videos are already like epic.
They are. And she's mentioned how much she loved directing.
Yeah.
So maybe she'll direct a full-length film someday.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, though, what else might she try creatively?
Right. She's passionate about writing, fashion, art, even philanthropy. Endless possibilities.
There are.
And she hinted at something special in the works, but kept it secret. Makes you wonder.
It's really captivating how, Taylor's creativity doesn't have any limits. She's not just a musician, she's a storyteller. And those stories, they could work in other mediums too.
Definitely. And how she's always willing to experiment and try new things. That's so inspiring. And it makes me think about all her collaborations.
Right.
She's worked with so many different people throughout her career. Do you think those collaborations, have they like changed her sound in any noticeable ways?
Oh, for sure. Think about when she worked with Jack Antonoff on 1989. He brought that, synth pop expertise.
Yeah.
And it pushed her in a bolder, more electronic direction than we'd heard before.
You're right. That's such a good example of how working with other people can push an artist and lead to something new.
Right.
And it also makes me think about her choice to start producing her own music.
Yeah,
It's not just about power, it's creative too, right?
exactly. Being a producer means she has full control over how her music sounds. Like, she can fine-tune every little detail to match what she wants. And if you think about it, it makes sense for someone so dedicated to her art.
It really makes you think about what she's learned from these collaborations and how that might show up in her future projects.
Yeah.
Especially with directing. She seemed to love directing the All Too Well short film.
Well, her music videos have always been really cinematic. They're not just like promotional things. They're mini stories with sets and costumes and symbolism.
That's so true. And she cads big actors and works with really talented cinematographers. Like, she wants to make a high quality visual thing.
Yeah, and don't forget those Easter eggs.
Oh, yeah, those little details she puts in, like, everywhere. It's like a scavenger hunt for fans.
Exactly. Whether it's a music video, a lyric, or even a social media post.
It's like she's created this secret world around her music, and her fans get to be part of it. And speaking of her fans, we have to talk about what happened when she did Taylor's version. It was a cultural thing, not just business.
It was a bold move.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Re-recording those albums, she got ownership of her masters back.
Right.
But it also sparked a conversation about how artists should have control over their work.
Totally. It was a strong message to the music industry and inspired other artists, too.
It did.
But I'm curious, on a more personal level, about the emotional side of going back to those songs.
Right. Just think, she was revisiting songs she wrote when she was so young, as a teenager, a young adult, She was experiencing all those feelings again, but with a new perspective.
Especially on Red, Taylor's version.
Oh, yeah.
That album was so honest and you could feel everything. And hearing her sing them now, with more experience,
Right.
it brings a whole new meaning to them.
It really does. And putting out the 10-minute version of All Too Well,
Yeah.
that was like a revelation.
Yeah.
It was like she was finally telling the whole story,
Yeah.
letting go of all those pent-up feelings.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about Speak Now, Taylor's version.
It's amazing.
That was the first album where she wrote every song herself.
I know.
And re-recording it must have been such a personal thing.
It must have been.
Yeah.
It really shows her songwriting talent at that young age. And it's so cool to hear how her voice and style have changed between the original and the re-recordings.
I think the re-recordings, they show us how much she's grown as both an artist and a person.
Definitely.
And it makes me think about when she said she wanted her music to be there for people through different times in their lives.
That's a beautiful thought, isn't it? Music, it has this way of connecting with us personally. It can bring back memories and emotions, give us comfort and inspiration.
And Taylor's music, it seems like it will always be relevant. Songs about heartbreak, friendship, figuring yourself out, those are things everyone goes through, no matter their age.
Absolutely. It's the kind of music you grow up with, and it means something different as you go through life. And it just shows how talented she is, that she's made music that's touched so many people so deeply.
But it also makes you wonder, what's next? Where does she go from here? She's done so much in music, she's trying filmmaking, and she has all these other things she loves.
It's like she's always pushing herself to change and do things people don't expect. She doesn't just stick to one thing.
And that's why she's so interesting to follow. She's unpredictable and ambitious and incredibly talented, and she's not afraid to take risks.
Remember how she mentioned she wants to write a novel? And she's so passionate about fashion and art.
It makes you wonder, is she going to make something that combines all of those? We know she loves surprising her fans with all those hidden meanings and stuff.
Imagine like a novel with clues in it that lead to online videos or secret websites, and then it all comes together to reveal a new album or a film.
That would be amazing. It would be like stepping into one of her songs, a total experience.
It would really fit with how she wants to connect with her fans on a deeper level. To make something they can be a part of, not just listen to.
She did mention working on something special, but didn't give us any details.
And knowing Taylor, it's probably going to be unexpected and blow our minds.
It's exciting to think about what it could be. She could do anything.
That's what makes her so inspiring. She reminds you that you can be creative without limits
Yeah.
and to go after what you love, dream big and don't be afraid.
I totally agree. It feels like we've been on this amazing journey through Taylor Swift's career,
It has been quite a journey.
and I'm already kind of bummed that it's almost over.
I know, right? It's been so interesting to see how she's grown, not just as a musician, but as a businesswoman, a cultural icon.
She's totally changed what it means to be a pop star today.
She really has.
Taking control of her story, her music, her business, it's groundbreaking.
And she's done all that while staying super close with her fans.
Yeah, it's like they're all on this adventure together.
They are.
Like she's bringing us all into her world, whether it's through the music or social media or those Easter eggs.
I think that's a big part of why people love her so much. She's not just performing.
Right.
She's sharing her journey.
And she's been so open about her struggles, her successes, how she's changed as an artist and a person.
That makes her relatable.
Yeah.
Even though she's this huge star, you feel like you know her.
It's like she's saying, hey, we're all in this together, going through life, love, all of it.
Exactly. And she does it with such grace and humor and intelligence.
It's really impressive. So thinking back on everything we've talked about, what do you think is the biggest takeaway from all this, from this deep dive into Taylor Swift?
For me, it's authenticity. That's what her whole career is built on. Being true to herself, her values, her vision. And that really connects with people.
It's powerful, especially these days when everyone's telling you to be like everyone else.
Yeah, you don't have to change who you are to be successful. Actually, being yourself is what makes you stand out and have a real impact.
And she's proven that over and over. She's always experimenting, taking risks, pushing herself creatively.
And that's what makes her such a great example, not just for musicians,
Right.
but for anyone who wants to be creative and live a good life.
I think her legacy goes way beyond her music. She's inspiring a whole generation to be themselves, to speak up, and to never give up on their dreams.
So as we wrap this up, I have to ask, what's next for Taylor Swift? What's the next surprise?
She's given us some hints, but she's also kept things pretty mysterious.
She has.
Knowing her, whatever it is will be amazing, bold, and probably full of surprises.
Maybe more filmmaking. That novel she mentioned, a fashion line,
Hmm.
or something totally different.
Who knows? But one thing's for sure, we'll be watching and listening and trying to figure out all the clues. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Taylor Swift.
It's been fun.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive into the people who are shaping our world. Until then, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and stay creative.